Imagine waking up every morning in a 6 by 9 foot cell, the same 4 walls, the same iron bars, the same fluorescent light flickering above your head. Now imagine that you are completely innocent, that every single day, every meal you eat behind those walls, every birthday your children celebrate, without you, every Christmas morning that passes in silence, is happening because the justice system got it wrong. That is not fiction. That is the true story of Marcus Dwayne Turner. In 1998, Marcus was a 24-year-old man living in Memphis, Tennessee. He had a job. He had a daughter. He had dreams. Then, one phone call changed everything. He was arrested, charged with murder in the first degree. And despite his desperate cries of innocence, he was convicted, sentenced to life in prison. And for 22 years, 22 long, brutal, devastating years, the world forgot about him, but he never stopped fighting. Welcome to Mindshift Stories, where we dig deep into the true stories that will change the way you see the world. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now, because the story you are about to hear is one of the most powerful things I have ever researched. You need to hear every single word. Let's go back to the beginning. Memphis, Tennessee, summer of 1998. It was a city suffocating under a heat wave that summer, but the heat on the streets had nothing to do with the temperature. Crime rates were climbing. Pressure on the police was enormous. The public wanted answers. They wanted arrests. They wanted justice. On the night of July 14th, 1998, a man named Raymond Caldwell was shot and killed in the parking lot of a convenience store on South 3rd Street. Raymond was 31 years old. He was a father of 3. By all accounts, he was a good man who had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. The neighborhood was devastated, and the police launched an immediate investigation. Within 48 hours, the investigation had a suspect, Marcus Dwayne Turner. How did he become the focus of that investigation? It came down to one thing: a witness. A woman named Denise Hartley told police that she had seen Marcus near the convenience store that night. She identified him from a photo lineup. And that, combined with a prior arrest on his record, not a conviction, just an arrest, was enough. Detectives showed up at his apartment on a Tuesday morning. His daughter, just 3 years old at the time, watched from the doorway as her father was handcuffed and led away. He told the officers, "I did not do this. I was not even there." Nobody listened. The trial lasted 6 days. The prosecution's case rested almost entirely on Denise Hartley's eyewitness testimony. She took the stand, looked Marcus in the eye, and said clearly, "That is the man I saw that night." The defense was underfunded. Marcus had a court-appointed attorney who, by his own later admission, spent fewer than 5 hours preparing for the case. No expert testimony on eyewitness identification. No serious challenge to the evidence. No alibi witnesses called, even though Marcus had told his lawyer. He was at his cousin's home that night. The jury deliberated for just 4 hours. Guilty. Life in prison. No possibility of parole for 25 years. Marcus Turner stood in that courtroom, 24 years old, and heard those words. He said later that the room went completely silent in his mind, like someone had turned the sound off in the world. He kept thinking that someone was going to stand up and say there was a mistake. But nobody stood up. Nobody said anything. They just took him away. Riverbend Maximum Security Institution, Nashville, Tennessee. This is where he would spend the next 2 decades of his life. In the early years, he cycled through the stages of grief, denial, rage, depression. He got into fights. He spent time in solitary. Guards called him a troublemaker. But he knew something no one else seemed willing to believe. He was innocent. And slowly, painfully, that knowledge became the thing that kept him alive. He started reading law books, court records, case studies. Every book the prison library had on criminal procedure and wrongful convictions. He taught himself to write legal briefs. He filed motions, motion after motion, from inside his cell. Most were denied within days. Some were never even acknowledged. But he kept going. Perhaps the hardest part of his story is not what prison did to him. It is what prison did to his family. His daughter, Aaliyah, grew up without her father. She visited when she could, birthdays, Christmas sometimes. But sitting across from your father in a prison visitation room, speaking through thick glass, is not the same as having him home. As a teenager, Aaliyah struggled. She told her grandmother she felt invisible, like she did not matter to the world because the world had taken her father and had not even gotten it right. Marcus's mother, Dorothy, spent years writing letters to anyone she thought might listen. Lawyers, journalists, politicians. She papered the walls of her small house with case notes and timelines, trying to find the crack in the case that would set her son free. She died in 2012, 8 years before Marcus walked out of prison, still believing in his innocence, still fighting for it. Marcus found out about his mother's death through the prison chaplain. He was not allowed to attend the funeral. The year was 2015. Marcus had been in prison for 17 years. A young law student named Carla Washington was working with the Tennessee Innocence Project, a nonprofit organization that investigates claims of wrongful conviction. She was assigned to review a stack of old case files, cases that had been looked at before, found to have insufficient grounds for appeal, and shelved. Marcus Turner's file was near the bottom of the pile. Carla almost did not open it, but something made her stop. Inside the file, she found a detail that previous reviewers had overlooked or perhaps dismissed. A single line in a police report, buried on page 11 of 14, that noted the original eyewitness, Denise Hartley, had initially described the shooter as approximately 5'9", with a thin build. Marcus Turner is 6'2". It was a small crack, but Carla Washington decided to dig. Carla brought the file to the lead attorney at the Innocence Project, a man named David Okafor. Together, they started pulling on that thread. They tracked down Denise Hartley, the original eyewitness, now living in Arkansas. She was hesitant to speak at first, but after 2 visits and a long, difficult conversation, she told them something extraordinary. She said she had been pressured. On the night of the police photo lineup, she said, a detective had pointed to Marcus Turner's photograph. Before she had made her selection, he had told her, "This is the guy we think did it." She had been scared. She had been young, and she had told them what they wanted to hear. She had carried that guilt for 17 years. She told the attorneys, "I knew something was not right, but I did not know how to go back. I did not know anyone would listen to me." But eyewitness recantations alone are difficult to win in court. Defense teams know this. So the Innocence Project attorneys needed more. They filed a motion requesting access to the original physical evidence from the 1998 crime scene, evidence that had been stored in a state warehouse for nearly 2 decades. The motion was denied. They appealed. Denied again. They appealed a second time, citing 3 recent federal cases that had established the right of wrongful conviction claimants to access original evidence. This time, the judge granted the motion. The evidence was retrieved. A cigarette, but found at the scene. A partial fingerprint lifted from a parked car nearby. Sent to an independent DNA lab. The results came back 6 weeks later. The DNA on the cigarette, but did not match Marcus Turner. It matched a man named Gerald Simmons, a man with a violent criminal history who had lived 3 blocks from the crime scene in 1998, and who had been questioned briefly during the original investigation and then released. Gerald Simmons was 5'8" and thin. On March 3, 2020, Marcus Turner was brought from his prison cell to a courtroom in Memphis for a post-conviction hearing. He had not been in a courtroom in 22 years. He sat at the defense table in a suit that did not quite fit. Because the last time he had worn a suit, he was 24 years old and had a different body. The attorneys presented everything. The DNA evidence, the recanted testimony, the suggestive photo lineup, affidavits from 3 neighbors who had seen Marcus at his cousin's house the night of the murder, neighbors who had never been contacted by the original defense. And then, after everything, They called Marcus himself to the stand. He spoke for 40 minutes. He talked about the conviction, about prison, about his daughter growing up without him, about his mother dying, about the nights he wanted to give up but did not. The judge, a woman named Judge Renee Holloway, sat perfectly still throughout his testimony. When Marcus finished, the courtroom was silent. Judge Holloway looked down at her papers. Then she looked up, and she said, "Mr. Turner, this court finds that your conviction was a miscarriage of justice. The evidence presented today is clear, compelling, and deeply disturbing. I am vacating your conviction, effective immediately. You are free to go." Marcus Turner sat in that chair for a long moment. Then he put his face in his hands and wept. On the afternoon of March 3rd, 2020, 22 years, 7 months, and 12 days after he was first arrested, Marcus Dwayne Turner walked out of a courthouse in Memphis, Tennessee. His daughter Aaliyah was waiting for him on the steps. She was 25 years old. The last time he had held her, she was 3. They held each other for a long time. Neither of them spoke. There are no words for a moment like that. Freedom, Marcus has said in the years since his release, is not what he expected. He thought freedom would feel like relief. Instead, it felt, at first, like being dropped into a foreign country. The world had changed. Smartphones existed. Prices had doubled. His friends had moved on. His mother was gone. He struggled. He had panic attacks in grocery stores, overwhelmed by choices he had not had to make in over 2 decades. He had nightmares. He saw a therapist. Some days he sat in his apartment and could not move. But slowly, just as he had done inside that cell for 22 years, Marcus Turner rebuilt. He became an advocate for criminal justice reform. He testified before the Tennessee State Legislature about the dangers of eyewitness identification. He partnered with the Innocence Project to review other cases. He started speaking at schools and universities. And he became, at 47 years old, something he had always wanted to be but never had the chance. A present father. He and Aaliyah meet for breakfast every Sunday morning without fail. Marcus Turner is not alone. According to the National Registry of Exonerations, over 3,300 people in the United States have been exonerated since 1989, meaning they were convicted of crimes they did not commit and were later officially cleared. Those are the ones we know about. Researchers estimate that between 2 and 10% of all people currently incarcerated in the U.S. may be innocent. When you consider that over 2 million people are behind bars in America right now, the numbers become staggering. The causes are not always malicious. Sometimes it is a detective under pressure who moves too fast. Sometimes it is an underfunded public defender who does not have the time. Sometimes it is an eyewitness who is genuinely trying to do the right thing, but whose memory fails under pressure. But the result is always the same: a human life destroyed. Marcus lost 22 years. He lost his daughter's childhood. He lost his mother. He lost the version of himself that might have existed, the man he could have been, if the system had simply done its job. That is not a small thing. That is everything. I want you to sit with this story for a moment before you scroll on. Because Marcus Turner is real. His story is real. And somewhere out there right now, there are other people sitting in cells, writing motions from tiny tables, waiting for someone to find that crack in the case. All they need is someone to look. If this story moved you, and I believe it did, please share it. Not for the views, not for the algorithm, but because stories like this deserve to be heard by as many people as possible. Hit subscribe if you are new here. Leave a comment below telling me what part of this story hit you hardest. I read every single one. Marcus said, when asked what he wants people to take away from his story, "I do not want pity. I want people to pay attention. Because this can happen to anyone. And it will keep happening until we demand something better." Marcus Turner. Free. And still fighting.